Hello and welcome back to the Community Roundup brought to you by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. Following a 2-0 victory in Game 4 last Friday, the Fort St. John Huskies NWJHL playoff run came to an end in Game 5 after a 3-1 loss to the Crete Lumber Barons. This, unfortunately, dashed their hopes of a 5th consecutive championship win. To talk more about the playoffs and the 2023-2024 season as a whole, I am now joined by Huskies head coach, Todd Alexander. Todd, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So before we talk about Game 5, tell me about Game 4. A 2-0 shutout win is definitely one way to get the hopes up, but it looks like it was an intense game as well.
Yeah, honestly, I think that if we just compared all the games that we played this year, that was probably the best team game that we had in general from start to finish. Guys were very checked on, very bought into the type of game that we needed to play in order to beat an opponent that's that good. It was fun to be a part of. The atmosphere was good, but really just the execution of the game plan was incredible. We didn't really give up too much in that game. We didn't make any mistakes. Each and every line went out over the wall and did their job exactly how we talked about it. So from a coach's standpoint, that was the best game that I got to watch this season, was us playing that game where it was 2-0.
Well, that's awesome. I wish I could have seen that. And you had said that you had some affiliate players from the Prince George Cougars step in and join the roster for the last 2 games. Were they able to amp up the physicality for you guys? Yeah,
absolutely. We had a couple young guys, Mason Nolan and Landon Alexander, step in for us, and they definitely helped us out in the physical category where we were lacking quite a bit in the first 3 games that we felt. And I mean, they did a good job in the second game as well. And hopefully those young guys will get an opportunity at some junior A, which is a level above us. And I think that that's the route that they need to at least attempt before we would try to rope them back in here. But no, overall, we really appreciate that they came out and helped us like that. You know, they just, probably a weekend before, they went through some heartbreak on their own, and they lost out in their playoffs with their team in Prince George Cougars in the U18 AAA. So,
right.
I mean, it's tough to get back in the saddle sometimes, but they did a really good job, and they bought in, and they were really effective players for us up there.
Good. That's good to hear. And last time we spoke was last week, I think, ahead of Game 4. You mentioned that there were a handful of players who really needed to step up. You said they were being soft in a lot of situations. Do you feel like those players showed up in Games 4 and 5?
Yeah, I think so for the most part. I mean, especially Game 4, like I said, the game plan was chiseled off to a T. So, Game 5, we got away from it a little bit in the second period, and the last couple minutes in the first period, we didn't execute as well, which, I mean, it's really hard to, play a perfect game like we did in Game 4 each and every night. I understand that, but, I think overall there was some guys that for sure didn't pull their weight in this series, and that's why we're sitting here talking about the end of the season.
Okay. How are you feeling about the season as a whole? Because I know, we talked kind of, I think, before Christmas break, and you revealed to me, I had no idea because you guys were doing so well, but you revealed to me that there had been a lot of adversity and it was a challenging season. So, I mean, that's different than the season before, I think. So yeah, tell me about how you feel about the season as a whole.
Yeah, I think we had another successful season. I definitely understand that we fell a little bit short of our goal there at the end of the year in playoffs, but we lost a lot of very key players. GM did a good job of finding guys and bringing them in, and for whatever reason, we were hit with the injury bug really heavy. Not an excuse. At the end of the day, you still got to play the games and figure out how to win with what you got, and it is what it is. But we took it off the chin pretty hard this year as far as that goes. We were missing a lot of key guys even in this series that we were at that would have been different makers for us as well. We ran into a bit of the flu bug there for the first 3 games. We were missing players and guys were trying to play sick, and so again, not an excuse for what the results are. You still many other people go through it and they find ways to get through it, and we just for whatever reason we couldn't find a way to get through it at the end there. But overall, I'm pretty happy. Like, again, we dealt with a lot of adversity that way, and a lot of young guys got a lot more than what they normally would have, and they were able to step up. And I think that all in all, next year that'll help those guys be a little bit hungrier than what we were this year overall. And you need to be hungry in order to stay on the top or be part of the top. And I think we got a pretty solid group that's coming back, and sometimes you need to fail to learn your lessons, and hopefully this failure that we had this year in playoffs will feed those guys for next year.
I'm just curious, and you don't have to answer this, but I'm just curious, when we talk about returning players next year, will those players who didn't step up into their roles like you needed them to, will they return next year?
Well, quite honestly, I think for the most part we'll clean the slate pretty good this year. Yeah. We had quite a few 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds this season, and you can't keep all of them. So as of it sits right now, I'd say that we're only really committed to 2 guys out of that whole group right now.
Really?
We do have lots of returning, like 19 and 18-year-olds and whatnot. So that part will be pretty good. We have pretty solid on the back end. I know General Manager Jeremy there, he's going to be busy recruiting and filling spots and whatnot this spring and throughout the summer. So I think right now, our focus is trying to find a guy on the back end for goaltending. It looks like Jeremy might have a guy for us, younger fellow that'll step up, and we'll see how that progresses. And really, we do need to focus a little bit on forward and find some forwards here.
Okay.
Find some guys that are enthusiastic, good body language, wanting to push the pace, wanting to be better. Need some physicality for sure. We were definitely lacking that this year for whatever reason it was. But that's about typical for us. Every year we kind of roughly lose 30-35% of our roster, and so we turn it over, and that's about right on par where we're at this year. So it just so happens that most of them are forwards this time around. So
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see who joins next season. Just a couple more for you here. As a head coach, are there any kind of takeaways from this season that will lead to any different strategy next season for you, or do you kind of always take the same approach?
We kind of dabble. I think that even this year we changed things a few different times. It's always group dependent on what you're playing. You can't just settle for one thing. Change is inevitable, and if you don't change, then you die, is the way we look at it. So we always sort of have a base of where we start and what we start with, but it doesn't mean that that's where we'll be at the end of the year. Sometimes those guys are just really good at what we do, if we start with, and we may hang on to that and play that way. Sometimes as we go along, we figure out that we need to tweak things here and there, which we did quite a bit this year, and we made lots of changes tactically for sure. And there's always, the hockey's a copycat league, and there's always things that come out that you'll look at, and maybe those are things that you want to try and see if it works for yourself and your program. And so we're not afraid to do any of that. And we definitely got the coaching staff and the support around me to make those types of changes. And the players are always bought in, and they never really question or complain about it. They just saddle up and get after what we're trying to accomplish, and do the best that they can for what we're asking.
Good. Last question for you here, Todd. What was, if you can think of one, what was the most memorable moment for you this season?
Well, I think just, working with my staff again. Obviously, every year that we get out of my dad is a blessing. He's been in the game a long time, and he still has a lot of fire and wants to continue down the path with us. And I've been working with Jeremy for a long time now. It's been a good relationship that we've been able to grow over the years. Brent was back again. He'll be back again next year, so it was nice having him around as well, growing as a coach, and he's starting to take on a little bit more responsibility. He's starting to see more things. He's getting better tactically, and he had lots more opportunity to run practice and stuff this year.
Oh,
so
good.
I like things like that. And I mean, Travis McLean has done an excellent job for us. I always love working with him. It's been from coaching him. I think I coached Travis for 3 or 4 years roughly.
Cool. That's awesome.
And then to have him come full circle, and he's done an amazing job with the goaltenders, and I'm not a goalie, so that helps me out massively. And so those are the memories that I look to build. As far as the team goes, it's culture was good again. We had well over 80% of the guys bought in, which is you need that. Nothing's ever perfect. But the guys do a really good job of making sure that they're pushing that forward, and I think we got some really good young leaders that learned a lot this year that got quite a bit of sandpaper to them, and I think that they'll do a great job next year when it's their turn now to lead, as we're turning the leadership group over again this year. So let's looking forward to a lot of different things that we have coming up, but still very hungry myself, and obviously I'll go back and I'll evaluate myself and see what I can do better and what I can do to push the group and continue to make sure that we're up at the top where we belong.
Great. I mean, I as always, I'm very excited to see what next season has in store for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, Todd.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Of course. Folks, this is Fort St. John Huskies head coach Todd Alexander. My name is Jordan Prentice, and you have been watching the Community Roundup, brought to you by Brad's Furniture and Appliances, and we will see you next time.